Hello, and welcome to the Dr. Arnessa Show. I have a special treat for you today. All the way from Bali, I have my good friend, Debbie Davidson. And Debbie, I met her through a community of women who are go-getters and queens and just doing the thing. And so I met her, we introduced ourselves, and I feel like we're long-term friends. Debbie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on. It's a
Now,
pleasure.
before we tell them about the beautiful place, Bali, I want to give them some background history on who you are and where you're originally from.
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from the UK, so I've lived there all my life. I left the NHS in a senior position as a nurse about 6 years ago. And then I discovered travel. So I went to Uganda, taught English, came back. And
Oh,
I went to India. Obviously, I wanted to do something different rather than volunteering teaching English. So I looked for volunteering stuff and I found Ayurveda, an Indian medicine. I never heard of Ayurveda before. So I spent 2 months in India, living with a healer, um, learning and working with Ayurveda. Then I came back and then I went to Bali, did a yoga teacher training course. Came back and just kept backwards and forwards with Bali and Brazil, and then ended up coming back to Bali again now.
so you have, I mean, I know you were in Bali, but I know you had told me you did some traveling, but tell us about some of these other places you went to. How was it someone coming from the UK and going to these different places? How was that?
It was amazing. So I love cultures. I love anything that's different. I find it fascinating exploring and learning about how people live differently. Obviously, a lot of the time when I was in Brazil or India, there were very, very few UK people there. You'd rarely come across one, to be honest.
So
Um,
how would they treat you?
oh, lovely. Honestly, they treated me so nice. They looked after me. When I was in India, they put me on the train, then there'd be somebody to pick me up off the train. There's always somebody at my side if I needed them. Honestly, beautiful.
Okay,
And in
so it
perfect.
wasn't just, this lady just traveling with no one that you knew. You had some kind of support, some people that were there to kind of guide you.
Yeah, when I went to India, I signed up with a volunteering agency.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
with Indian families. Each time I moved to a different area of India, I would be with a different family. So yeah, they really, really cared for me. Honestly, they were like my own family. They were lovely.
Wow. So, okay, fast forward. Well, now, before we fast forward, what did you do in the UK so people can kind of get an idea of who you are? Because they know you do a lot of volunteering, but what did you do in the UK, before you start doing all the traveling?
In the UK, so I go really, really back. So I left school, did a business studies degree, worked in marketing for a while, and then I moved up to Newcastle. Originally, I'm from Huddersfield in Yorkshire. Moved up to Newcastle and started studying nursing. And I must have worked in the nursing profession. God, this is a guess. I lose track of time. About 12 years, 13 years as a
Mm-hmm.
for NHS. And as I said before, I left my senior sister's position in maybe about 6 years ago. But I still work as a nurse, so I work on the agency, which gives me the flexibility to come and go as I need, so I can come out and do other stuff.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is
Yeah,
wonderful. So, okay, tell us, you came to Bali. Now, this was pre-COVID, right?
yeah, it was.
Okay, so tell us how you ended up coming there.
I sort of knew COVID was about, but
Okay.
wasn't such a big issue with it. So I was wanting to go to Italy, okay, at the start, and I was wanting to go write a book. And then I thought to myself, if I go to Italy, I'm not going to get much done. Because I love Italy, you know, the culture, the fashion, everything. And it's very, very busy, isn't it? So I thought, I'll go back to Bali. I've been to Bali 4 times before, so I didn't have the need to like go sightsee and do all these new things. Although it's nice to do a few of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I'll go and done. So I came to Bali. It just sort of happened so easily. And then I was here and the coronavirus started to rise and everybody started panicking and there was so much fear in Bali. God, I need to go home. I don't want to be in Bali. It's going to get bad here and la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And then I started feeling fear. And oh my God, what am I doing? Should I be going back home? Am I being silly? Everybody's going back home. And then I'd go back to my room and, you know, I'd sit there on my chair, just sit myself, put my hands on my heart. And sometimes I had a few tears. I thought, no, everything's going to be fine. It's okay. And then I keep rescheduling my flights. Each time before they got cancelled, oh, no, it's going to get cancelled. And then I thought, in fact, I'm going to be here till after Christmas. And then my flight in November just got cancelled. But I'm happy about that because I don't really want to go back to the UK in the dark and the snow and all that. You know,
Especially God always knows.
So, yeah, it's like it just sort of happened. And then there's a day of silence in Bali. I've forgotten what you call it now. Epi, day of Epi or something. And I'm there sunbathing in front of the pool. Right, I'm going to do this 24-hour silence. And this guy sort of talks to me. I said, nod my head at him. And then he talks to me again. And I thought, right, I'm just going to go have a chat to him. And so we got chatting. I says, what do you do? He's a healer. I do that as well. So we had a chat and I learned so much from him. And then I felt like my time had finished with him. And I sort of walked into this Pilates studio and I met this other guy and he said he did Bowen therapy. So he's like a body mechanic.
Hold on. Deb, you said a body mechanic? Now in America, we have car mechanics, but he was a body mechanic. Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
So, I can't really explain it, but I had a twist in my body, and I've had this since I've been a child. So I've just been out of slight alignment. It's nothing major to look at, but it's big to me. And I've gone to lots of people to try and help me with this, but nobody really could. They helped me, but they didn't get to the roots of the body. So he from the inside out, where I think a lot of people work from the outside. So if you go to the gym, it's about pumping weights and look at the package. It's all important, you know, and it's what you choose. But he works from inside.
Oh.
And like, yeah, it'll talk about all different cross sections in the body. It is amazing. It's called Faz from Art of Pilates in Bali. So I'm trying to get him to come on video as well.
And so how did you know he fixed this problem that you've had all your life?
So there's still a bit more to go, but we've come quite away from where I was. So my body wasn't connecting as one unit. So what I mean there, I'm trying to explain this. We have a transverse abdominals, but your scapula, your pelvis, everything, so it comes from the core, the center. So I don't know how to explain it. You engage everything as you move. So your body works as one unit, whereas it wasn't doing. You know, I might be over there, but it wasn't.
So it was like you weren't aligned. You weren't aligned.
But yeah, it's hard to explain, but yeah.
Okay.
But they teach this sort of in Pilates, in yoga.
So after you experienced that he had helped you, what were your thoughts? Did you think, okay, this guy knows what he's doing?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, he knows, a lot of stuff. Yeah, you can just tell when you speak to somebody the knowledge they have of the body, all the different muscles they have, you know, just yeah, it's hard to explain. You have to see him to be able to understand it. Yeah, you can't really put it into words.
So is that one of the reasons you decided to stay in Bali?
I wanted to stay anyway, but as time was going on and you start questioning yourself, I thought to myself, do you know, I don't want to leave Bali because I don't feel I can leave this situation. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I want somebody else to be able to help me quite like he did. So even if it's just for staying for this, then yes. Oh, and then one thing leads on to another. And I was sat in a cafe on my own, and this guy comes up talking to me. He's another healer. So he's on about setting up clinics around the world. And then he puts me in touch with this other guy who is a coach, and he helps you develop your story into a brand or a business. So, yeah, so it's like one thing leads to another in Bali. It's quite magical.
So it was like you ended up going to Bali, and I want the audience to understand. You ended up going there just for a short time, and then things start happening, and you didn't really understand the magnitude of, okay, I'm not going to be able to go back home. I don't even think I want to go back home. I'm going to stay in Bali. But while you were there, it's like your life started transitioning. Things start happening. God, it seemed like he was bringing people to you to help you on your journey.
Yeah, it's I was coming here for 6 weeks. It's strange. Yeah, how life
It,
happens. But you know, before I came here, I always remember feeling and actually saying to a few people, this is going to be life changing for me when I go over there. I don't know what, but it's going to be life changing. And I mean, it's been life changing for all of us, hasn't it?
but inside for yourself, it's like God was telling you this is not going to be just an ordinary trip,
No, no.
and
It
it
never is.
hasn't been. Because what started off as 6 weeks has now been over 6 months, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm going into 7 months now.
Wow.
I would imagine it'll be about a year when I enter the UK.
Wow. So you are a healer, and how did you tell us your story about you you knew what you were supposed to do, but you finally got the courage to say it out loud.
Yeah, so I discovered a gift quite a few years ago. I didn't know what it was. Nobody could tell me because it's nothing I'd learned. It just happened. Um, and yeah, so amazing things were happening in the hospital. And then I started working on Friends. And then I went to volunteer in a recovery place in Newcastle for a year. And then I used to think, what can I call myself? So I decided to go public a year ago, and I call myself a relaxation therapist. And I call myself a relaxation therapist simply because I can place my hands on people, and within seconds they go into a deep state of relaxation. It's beautiful. And I didn't want to call myself a healer.
So hold on for a minute. Why did you not want to call yourself a healer?
I think I was shy, and I felt, I don't know what people are going to think to me. Oh, I'm a healer. I can heal you. Do you know? Because I don't.
And that's why a lot of people are not living their authentic life, what God has for them to do, because they're afraid of what people are going to say.
I was afraid. I thought, what will they say? And I didn't have the confidence to call myself that. And then it went from relaxation therapist to, when I was in Bali, to healing therapy. I thought, yeah, healing therapy. And then I thought, but that doesn't really answer what I do, because healing therapy can be massage. You know, it can be lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally, on Instagram, I call myself a healer. On Facebook, I think it says healing with Debbie Davidson. So maybe I need to try and change that as well on Facebook to healer. But yeah, and I was just thinking the other day, do you know something? I've got a gift here. And there are lots of people out there that will search for the word healer when they're in crisis.
Yes.
And I thought, I'm doing myself a disservice to them by not being present for them.
Right.
And also myself, you know, and I understand there'll be lots of people that want this, but there will be people that don't, and that's fine, you know. But I'm here for the people that do. And you know,
that is what is so important, Debbie, that you are walking in your anointing. We call it an anointing, your gift. And once you get the strength to walk in your gift, it is no telling how God is gonna just enhance your life, because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is being a healer to others. And people got to realize our gifts are not for us. Our gifts and our talents are to use for other people. And I'm so glad you're doing that.
you know, I feel so much better in myself since I've just done this the other day. Yeah, I feel so much better. And I love that how you say the gifts are not for us, they're for others as well, because I met an interesting guy, another one. I was sat in a cafe in Bali and he comes up, I was writing away, and he said, "Are you a writer?" And I just giggled, said, "No, I'm not a writer. I'm trying to write a book, but I'm not a writer." So he introduced himself. He was a writer, a psychic medium, and started telling me all these things that were really relevant for myself. And one of them I'll share with you because I really, really liked it the way he said it. He said, "You know, Debbie, your wounds aren't yours to keep. They don't belong to you. They need to be shared." And I love that. It's so powerful, but so true. They're not ours to keep. And when we do keep, we just create dis-ease within the body.
Right. Because it's a freeing. Once you put out there, you're a healer. Some people it might be a minister. Some people it might be a coach. Once you put it out there and you just decide, I'm not going to care about what people say. I got to do what's in me to do. Oh, your life is going, it just changes. And then people start gravitating to you. Just like when I met you, I'm like, I want to get to know her. And then when I found out that you were a spiritual woman, I'm like, no wonder, I could, even though we haven't met, just by talking to you, I knew that we had so much in common. There was a connection there.
Yes, yeah, definitely, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk some more, but if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I have a few different ways. So you can contact me on Facebook. And at the moment, I'm calling myself Healing with Debbie Davidson.
Okay.
On Instagram, where it's debbiedavidson.healer.
Mm-hmm.
Email contact@debbiedavidson.com.
Okay. And I'm gonna have this on the screen later on for people, but I want them to, know how the different ways to get in contact with you. And then also for people out there that are saying, well, she's over in Bali, how can she help me? Can you explain to them how you work with your clients?
Yeah, so this has been a lot of discovery as well since I've been in Bali. So I used to see people, and I still see people, in person, where obviously I do the body treatments, place my hands on the person and the chatting. But obviously Corona came. So I thought, God, what am I going to do now? So I now work with people online as well. So I had a few friends at first just to see how this worked, and it worked really well. And so, yeah, I see people internationally online, and it's amazing. So obviously it's very different with every single person because everybody's unique in what they need. But basically somebody comes online, we have a bit of chat, what they're looking for, what is it they're hoping to achieve, have they got any issues, anything. And basically we have a few breaths and then we just go with it, whatever's needed in that moment. So we'll be talking, we'll be seeing what the body's saying, because the body has a huge language and the way it talks is amazing. And I may help people to become aware of what the body's telling them. You know, I've had people come to me and they've released backache, hip pain from the bodies just within one session. And within the session also, I help people to be able to understand what the body's saying so that when they're away from me, they'll be able to connect to this themselves and be a bit more aware.
Yes.
And if they need support, they can come back to me as well. You know, it's yeah.
So what do you find, I know you've had a personal awakening since you've been in Bali. What is it, how has it been being there in Bali that's so different maybe even from the UK that you have experienced?
Okay, so being in Bali, it's phenomenal because there's a wide range of people here. And what I mean by that is a range of people that are very open and open to knowing more. I find in England, people are quite closed
Okay.
like this. Not as much as they used to. It's starting to open up slightly.
So
Um,
so what you're saying is it's like there's a hunger for the healing, for the information of
yeah,
healing. Okay. And I could, because when I think of Bali, I think of serenity and the water and uh the freshness of the food, everything is not, it just seems like everything is more natural. Is
yeah,
that correct?
it's beautiful in that way. So the food's all natural and it's, you know, whatever you put in your body's real and you just feel so much better and you have a greater connection with yourself. The weather, it's always warm every day, the sunshine.
Oh, I would love that because our temperature here has gotten in the 60s, so it's gotten cold. It's supposed to get warm again, but it's been cold for the last couple of days. So you have
The people,
it's just beautiful sunshine and then how far are you from the water?
I have a swimming pool outside where I'm living. That's really, really nice. And then the beach is like a 10-minute walk.
Oh,
I went on a walk the other day, got lost. Back
what
road.
do you find yourself, because you're by the water and everything is so tranquil, do you find yourself meditating more and praying and stuff more there than you were maybe before?
For me, meditation is like going for a walk or, you know, just sitting there. Yeah, for me, meditation means a lot of different things. Yeah, or I can just write. Yeah, I find I'm a lot more stiller here. So the pace of
Hmm.
life is slower. So obviously with the pace of life being slower, you are a lot more connected to yourself. And obviously
Yes.
a lot of real food, you're more connected to yourself as well. It's very powerful what we put inside our body. It
Oh,
really is.
yes. Very powerful.
Yeah, I
So you
first,
said, excuse me?
first discovered this in India when I was studying Ayurveda, how powerful it is what we put in our body.
Now, I know you said you were writing a book. So is it going to be like how to heal yourself book, or is it going to be your experiences as a healer? What type of book is it going to be?
At the moment, I'm just working on the back cover and getting the structure for it. So this is very general and, you know, very, it's not set in stone at the moment. It's going to be a book, a bit of my experience explaining who I am as a person, my struggles, how I discovered my gift, what healing is, and maybe a bit of scientific proof in there as well. And basically giving people insight into how they can go along the healing journey but save themselves time, confusion, and a lot of money. And
Yes.
strength, hope, and the courage that there's something far greater out there for them. So by
Yes.
talking experience where I come from to where I am now, hopefully saving them a lot of time, and I say money and confusion again.
Do you think sometime, I know back in the Bible it said uh, that I cannot remember right now, that they had to leave their kindred. They had to leave in order to do the great works that they were supposed to do. Do you think with you leaving what you've always known, which is, being in the UK, leaving there and going to these different places to really find and use your gifts and talents?
I personally, I don't think you need to go to another country to find these gifts and talents. I think somebody could just stay in UK and these gifts and talents will still come forward. However, I do believe that by going to these places, we become a lot more open to it because we're
Okay.
learning more experiences, we're learning, like for example, I studied yoga, I studied meditation in India and Bali. So we're more aware of how different cultures are living.
Yes.
And in certain parts of the world, such as over this end, people are a lot more open to the natural way of life.
Right.
So yeah, it probably has done. But I do believe that people can still discover gifts, staying in the UK. I think it expands your knowledge base and your experience, and it changes you as a person.
Oh, I can see. Just by you telling me how how you went from being we'll say 9 to 5 nurse and traveling and then deciding to do what your natural calling and gift and talent is, that, believe it or not, that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage just to go to a different country.
You see, for me, that was fine. I'd go anywhere on my own. I just love it. When I get on a plane, I get excited.
I do too, but not a lot of people can do that. I can remember when I had an opportunity to go to Dubai. My mother she said, "You're gonna go where?" And then when we looked at the map, I showed her the map. She said, "You're gonna go all the way over there?" She said, "I'm gonna tell you the kind of person I am. I'll stay here and wait for you to tell me what you experienced." She says, "I don't want to go." Like, okay, well, I'm sure gonna tell you. But some people, they don't want to go to different places. I love to travel. And it could be because my parents were in the military, and so we did do a lot of traveling. We could have done more, but my mother wanted to stay in the States. So
Yeah,
as soon as I was able to travel and go out of the States, I did.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
commend, especially, traveling alone. A lot of women, they don't want to travel alone. They want to have at least a girlfriend or entourage, to go with them somewhere. I've never had to have a crew when I went somewhere.
I love it because I think when you're on your own, I mean, it's nice to have somebody with you as well, but when you're on your own, you open up to meeting a wide range of people. And so yeah, I find if I was with somebody, sometimes you're not always as open to doing that. Whereas I can sit in cafes on my own and I get random people coming up and talking to me, or I'll go to a
Right,
park. Have
right.
conversations that, yeah, you probably wouldn't normally have if you were just with the same person all the time.
I think it's like they could feel your spirit, your vibe, and you attract them to you. Because I know I had that same thing. I could be sitting in the airport just minding my business. Somebody come over and start talking. I mean, my husband, he's just amazed. He said, every time we go somewhere, somebody comes to talk to you. I said, I guess they can feel my spirit and they just know I'm a nice person. And they start talking. Tell me
Yeah.
2 things that you want to do in the future. Now, we know you're working on your book, so we're not going to add that. But what are 2 things that, if money was no object, if, I mean, you just asked and it happened, what would you want? 2 things.
I'd like to have somewhere to live in a nice warm climate. So maybe have my base in England still, to my family there, but have somewhere else to live in another country. where it's nice and warm and yeah. My other thing, I suppose have the opportunity to share my gift internationally around the world.
Oh, well, I have a feeling that's going to happen
Oh, good.
because you stepped out. You stepped out on faith. You're using your gifts and talents. It's no telling where you're going to end up.
It's funny, you know, because when I started coming to Bali, which was about 5 years ago, I used to see all these yoga teachers, healers, and they'd be working around the world doing the job. I used to think, I want to do that. And, you know, I used to think, like, yeah, I really want to do it. Then I'd let go of it. Then I'd do it. Then I'd let go. And it's like, I'm here now. And I'm doing it. It's like, yeah,
Yes,
change. Yeah.
you are doing it. So, like I said, your email is Debbie Davidson. No, your website is debbiedavidson.com.
No, I don't have a website. I've closed my website down now. My Facebook is Healing with Debbie Davidson.
Okay.
Instagram is debbiedavidson.healer.
Okay.
And email is contact@debbiedavidson.com.
Oh, that's okay. That must have been when I was the .com. I knew it was a .com somewhere. Well, Debbie, so I was noticing the other day you have renewed, or you're getting ready to renew to stay in Bali for a little longer.
Yes, I would imagine, again, I don't make rigid plans, I'm open to flexibility. I would enter the UK after the winter. So that would probably be maybe March.
Okay, so yeah, yeah, I know everything is look, everything is up and down. It's like I have had to put everything, my personal meetings, conferences, everything, I had to put them on my calendar because it's like what we're dealing with this pandemic, the corona, whatever you want to call it. It's like every day seems like the same day. It doesn't seem like, okay, Monday through Friday and then the weekend. It seems like everything just goes together. So sometimes you wake up and you're like, okay, what day is it? So we're just living in a time that's just so different than it has ever been. So we just have to make the best of it, and no telling, by March, you may already have offers to go to another country, and hopefully by then this corona will be history and we'll be somewhat back to normal again. That's what my prayer is. I'm ready to, okay, this has been a bad dream. I'm ready for this dream to get over.
I think we're going to calm down more after the winter, definitely.
Well, I'm sure hoping so. So do you want to leave us with any parting words that you can tell people, that maybe a tip that they should do?
Tip. So yeah, I suppose whenever you start to feel anxious or hopeless, or you're starting to worry or panic, just sit down with yourself, put your hand on your heart, on your skin area, and have a few breaths and really, really feel into the sensations underneath your hand and really feel into this heart area. A lot of the time when we go into that mode of worry, anxiety, panic, overthinking, it's because we've gone into our heads. So we just need to come back down into our bodies and connect to ourselves. And we'll find this place with so much more peace here, so much more clarity. And you can do this anytime throughout the day. It doesn't have to take long.
Okay, so do we just do regular breaths? Just regular? In and out? Just
No, normally, if I'm working with a client, I'll say inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. But you don't have to do it religiously, strictly like that. Just a nice breath, but breathing from the diaphragm and the stomach, so that's expanding on the inhale, and then just hold it a bit at the top for a few moments, and then exhale slowly. And that really helps to bring you back into a relaxed state. So sometimes, any time when you just, oh, what am I doing? a bit overwhelmed, that's just a nice exercise to do and bring yourself back.
Well, Debbie, thank you so much for being on the show. And I'm probably going to break this up into 2 shows and put it on my YouTube channel because you have given us some wonderful information. Thank you for sharing your life with us and some of the new experiences that you had once you stepped out on faith and did what you know you're supposed to be doing. So, like I said, the sky is the limit. No telling where you might. Yeah?
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. I would love this because this is what I do. Because you know we're gonna want to hear, what happened next. Because there's so much going on.